welcome everybody. It's great to see you all. Welcome to the Climate Resiliency Challenge. Today we will be talking to you about what the challenge is, giving you a bit of insight into what kind of participation we're hoping for, and then hear a bit from our partners about the challenge. All of you are muted. You are welcome to use the Q&A function of Zoom to send us any questions you may have. For the first half of this webinar, we will be talking and sharing some information, but in the second half, we'll have a Q&A portion where you can ask us anything. But also throughout, if you have any questions about anything that's being said, you're welcome to use the Q&A function, drop in any questions, and our team will be responding to them as we're presenting. So that being said, let me hopefully share my screen right. Connor, Karen, is it looking good? All right, perfect. Okay. Let's get going. As I've mentioned, today we're going to give you a bit of background on the challenge, a bit of background on what open innovation is, and then we're going to have our partners talk a little bit about what they're excited for. And then we will deep dive into the challenge, talk about exactly evaluation criteria, participation criteria, and then a Q&A portion where you can ask anything you'd like. Here are our speakers for today. Maybe you can all quickly raise your hand and say hi, but I will be one of the main moderators. I'm also one of the challenge managers from IDEO. Connor, Stephanie, and Karen are also here, our challenge guides, as well as Kira and Liz from our partnership side from CSA and Aon. So you will be hearing from us today about the challenge. Great. Let's talk a bit about why we've started with this challenge and what we're hoping to do. We are increasingly experiencing the effects of climate change and climate-related disasters on our lives, our environments, and ecosystems. Disruptive climate events such as wildfires, floods, and extreme weather are often accompanied by loss of life, reduced quality of life, long recovery times, property loss, and damage. As you can see, here is a map of all the major disasters that happened in 2022 and what that has cost us in the world. Here is a closer look at the United States. Climate-related disasters cause $120 billion in damages annually in the United States. That figure is 5 times greater than 50 years ago, and projections are $2 trillion by the end of the century. We are seeing the highest of the high when it comes to temperature and lowest of the low. We're seeing a lot of wildfires across the US, highest number in 10 years. And we're also seeing the highest snowfall as well as the coldest of colds of the past decades. So a big major part of responding to these disasters has been climate resilience. The ability to anticipate, prepare for, and respond to hazardous events, trends, and disturbances related to climate. Improving climate resilience involves assessing how climate change will create new or alter current climate-related risks and taking steps to better cope with these risks. We are also focused on frontline communities. We are just sort of giving you the broad background of what this challenge is about. Frontline communities are neighborhoods or populations of people that feel the most immediate and worst impacts from climate change, who are physically exposed to climate risks due to their locations of their homes and businesses, and importantly, people who have fewer resources, capacity, or political power to respond to those risks. As we are seeing climate change lead to much higher risk and damage for people, for infrastructure, for businesses, we are hoping to shape climate-resilient frontline communities that will be better prepared for, be able to better prevent and better recover from these disasters. And so this is the scope of our challenge. This is what we're hoping to address with our Climate Resiliency Challenge as Open IDEO. How might we empower frontline communities to prevent, prepare for, and recover from the most urgent climate-related disasters, such as wildfires, floods, and extreme weather? So if you're here, that means this was of interest to you. That means you're hoping to submit a solution, participate, or hear from others on how we might address this challenge. As we continue, we want to tell you a bit about what the Open Innovation is and how we might be utilizing our platform to help shape and broadcast some of your ideas. So I'm going to hand it off to Karen from also IDEO to talk a bit more about what Open Innovation is.
Thanks, Dennis. Hey, everyone. Open innovation happens, and we do it because of you. The very reason that we are in this room together is because we believe in a participatory approach, a decentralized approach. And because we believe that this topic and any solution and any approach that's necessary is beyond IDEO, it's beyond CSAA, it's beyond any one sponsor, because there are people like you in the world that care, that have been on the front lines, that have been doing this work. It's the platform to bring people like you together. So in contrast to one of us just huddling in a room or trying to use our own data or trying to figure it out on our own, we think that these types of solutions, whether it's climate change, global poverty, world hunger, needs openness, it needs collaboration so that this change can happen further and it can happen faster. If you'll move to the next slide, please. So actually, IDEO has been doing this for over a decade. And about a decade ago, we were just thinking, oh, you know, if you've heard of IDEO, you've heard of design thinking. And it was about a decade ago, we said, more people need to learn how to do design thinking. And people need these tools and these kits to actually work on these things. And a few years later, we were saying, okay, more and more people are picking up on these skills and these tools. And so how do we actually plant seeds in communities around the world where people can come together to make that difference? And so we started bringing in more sponsors. We started bringing in chapters. We started bringing in and just seeing university hubs pop up to work on these challenges. And we can be really proud and say we're at a place where we're actually now moving the needle on ecosystems. There's $1 million committed to this, up to $1 million being committed to this because of sponsors like CSSA, EON, EDF, and we're actually trying to move the needle on ecosystems. So you can look at later at some of the past challenges that we've worked on, but we really believe that by putting out this platform, by bringing together actors and players from different industries and different skill sets, that this is what the world needs. I'm also already seeing some people in the participants from past challenges. Hi. And it's so great because there are people who may be experts in some things and others. There are chances for you to meet people with different skill sets to work together. Part of, if we go to the next slide, what you'll see here is part of what differentiates us from a normal grant process is that once you log in and sign up and you start submitting the solution, the big third bucket you'll see is connect and collaborate. Instead of just submitting an application that 5 people score behind closed doors, this is a chance for you to iterate in public. This is a chance for you to go and comment on someone else's because you have that lived experience that no one else has, because you figured out this cool new prototyping method that someone else could benefit from. And so the first 2 buckets I would say are pretty standard. We can describe later if you need help in the Q&A about how to actually use the platform. What I really want to lean into is think about the partnerships. Think about how you will be able to use from now till July 10th to leverage the most of what this open innovation platform provides for you. And Dennis will explain later some of the offers that we have, whether that's office hours, whether that's expert consultation with someone from EDF, whether that's being able to do a jam session with someone from across the world who has a different perspective on this. As you can tell, I'm quite excited about this offer because, yeah, I've seen the power of it before. So later when we follow up with the FAQ and the synthesis, we'll also include a few different examples of how challenges have worked in the past to really move the needle on other big cool things. Dennis, back to you.
Thank you. All right. So before we deep dive into the challenge, go over all the criteria, how the prizes will be distributed, etc., we want to take a moment to hear from our partners, CSAA and EON, on why they're excited about this challenge, why they're excited to have you all here. So first, I'm going to hand it off to Kira from CSAA. Kira, do you mind introducing yourself and then sharing with us some of your thoughts?
Yeah, sure. Thanks so much, Dennis. I'm Kira Payton. I have been working at CSA for the last 16 years, and I'm proud to be representing CSA Insurance Group and their sponsorship of the Climate Resiliency Challenge. As a major carrier in California and across the country, but it feels like, especially in California, our insureds have been heavily impacted by climate-related disasters. Dennis shared a lot of those stats before, and I personally have been impacted because my father and his family live in Santa Rosa. He was actually here with me in San Francisco when the Tubbs fire ignited, and his wife and daughter and their pets were being evacuated. Then again in 2018, I volunteered at our cat trailer after the Camp Fire, which killed 85 people and decimated the town of Paradise. In the weeks following those fires, firefighters were speaking about things they've never seen before. They were talking about fires jumping across freeways and valleys, and they were talking about something called a fire tornado. And if you fast forward to the unprecedented flooding that happened across California this year, I had friends whose homes should not be at risk of flooding and had water filling their basements. So it's not just that the impacts to our families and communities have been devastating. It's that all of these things are indications of how climate-related weather events are changing. So we recognize that there's this need to better be able to anticipate and cope with that reality, that weather events are growing in intensity and size and destructiveness. CSAA and the rest of our sponsors have joined forces to sponsor this challenge as a call to action. A lot of our fellow sponsors happen to be in the insurance industry. We did not set out to have an insurance theme in our solutions or in our sponsors, but I kind of like it. This industry pays a lot of attention to climate. We're looking at the past and the future to predict risk and price appropriately. Some of you might have seen a headline over the weekend that State Farm is not going to sell new homeowners policies in California, which is, they are the largest California homeowner carrier, and they're sort of saying that they can't stomach any more risk in this one state. That's due to inflation, supply chain issues, and more, but not the least of which is the unpredictability of increased and frequency of extreme weather. So the industry is seeing this growing threat, and we are worried. Insurance is really about peace of mind, about keeping you safe and secure. And then if God forbid the worst happens, we're there to help you financially to get you back on your feet and back to normalcy. But we'd much prefer to prevent that harm from occurring. And we know that action is less costly than inaction. And so we're sponsoring things like this Climate Resiliency Challenge to try to find new solutions that are going to help people and communities protect themselves and recover faster from catastrophes. I'm sure that mission resonates, but that is why CSAA launched this project, and this sense of urgency around climate resiliency and our belief in the power of open innovation, like Corinne just shared with you. It takes diverse perspectives and experiences to solve these most complicated challenges and find the best solutions. And this is our call to action to you, entrepreneurs, scientists, innovators from across the globe, to join and discover new solutions and to create positive outcomes for the future. Thanks.
Thank you for sharing, Kira. Appreciate that. And next, we will be hearing from Liz Henderson from Aon. Liz, same for you. Could you please introduce yourself and then share with us your thoughts?
Yeah, thank you. And as always, it's wonderful listening to Kira talk about the mission at CSAA and the real passion that's driving this innovation challenge. So I work with Aon. Aon, for those who don't know, is a financial services company that primarily works with organizations from corporate entities to actually insurance companies to place their insurance or reinsurance policies. So my background is in catastrophe risk management. And as Kira mentioned, there's no one better, more aware than the insurance companies that are underwriting and paying out claims for climate-related risks than the clients that we work with at Aon. And one of the things that we believe in at Aon is, we want to support our clients throughout, no matter where they sit in the economy, to weather the change that climate change is bringing to them today, to build resilience, whether that's post-event, recovery, pre-event, investment to reduce loss, or other financial metrics and tools that we can use to help really bring more stability to communities that are at risk from climate-related disasters. And because we really know and understand how to quantify catastrophe risks, how to analyze them and really understand them in the insurance space, part of why we are particularly excited about this challenge is we want to bring that same expertise to a wider set of stakeholders. One of the key challenges that we know exists when we're trying to handle and navigate the issue of climate change is that many people just don't even understand the risk that they have. They don't know that their house is at risk of flooding. They don't know what the likelihood is that a wildfire might impact their home. But the data and the models are evolving and changing very quickly, and the expertise to interpret that information does exist. But we need more people at the table to figure out, how do you use that information and knowledge to actually solve the problem for people who are most at risk? And at Aon, we really want to take a leadership role in making sure we're helping bring all lines of defense to the table to help communities survive these impacts. We also recognize that not every solution is going to come from insurance. So insurance is our bread and butter, risk is our bread and butter. We really understand it, but not every solution to supporting resilience is going to come from the insurance sector. So we want to enable more of those ideas to come forward to really help in a way that we're all going to benefit from, whether you live, in a high risk area yourself, or you have a family who does, like Kira mentioned, or you're a participant in this ecosystem of kind of climate risk and cat risk. We're all going to benefit if we can bring innovative solutions to the table. And we have to have a space where we can try out new things that might be hard, that might be, more challenging for one sector to handle than another sector. We need a place where we can kind of really test the limits of what we can do. So we're particularly excited about supporting CSAA and IDO in this challenge. Really, and personally, just excited because this is probably one of the most fun things I get to do during my day job. I work, I'm in the business side of Aon. I work with clients. I have to, deliver on my KPIs and deliver results for my superiors. But this thing that I'm doing here is fun. Like, I'm really looking forward to seeing all the ideas that you guys have. I know it's going to be really exciting, and I'm just honored that everyone's here today and willing to pull up their sleeves and get to work on this problem. So thank you all, and good luck to all of you. I look forward to hearing some great ideas.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing, Liz. Hope that gave everybody a bit of insight as to what we're hoping for, but I think you two said it better than I could. And yes, really looking forward to all the submissions that we're going to see. All right, I'm going to continue. Let's see, hopefully I do this right again. Can everybody see my screen? Yes. All right. So as we go into deep diving into the challenge, I just want to start with showing you all the challenge website. I'm sure by now, all of you have been to this website. Some of you have already started submitting solution ideas, but let's start with an overview of what you can find here, how you can contact us, and if you need to look into eligibility, if you have any questions about submissions, where you can find those answers. So as you come to the challenge platform, you will be able to see the broad overview, everything we've said about the how might we, the challenge statement, our sponsors, and then at the bottom, you'll be able to read a bit about the background and some definitions like climate resilience and frontline communities. There's a section here about who can participate, which I will talk about in this webinar as well. There's our themes to consider. This is a bucket of inspiration for you. So if you have an idea, if you have a solution and you're curious how that might shape in this challenge, please come here and read our themes to consider. There's some questions there. There's some solution inspiration of what we are hoping to see. So if you're curious about where you fit in this challenge, this might be a good place to start. We also have a tab for awards and incentives, talking about how much in prizes, monetary, that we will be giving, as well as what are some other benefits of joining an open innovation challenge. And then lastly, there's our evaluation criteria. So if you're curious as to what we will be looking and evaluating these submissions about, they are listed here, and I will also cover them today. And then at the bottom here, there's two attachments, two PDF documents. One is our longer terms and conditions from our legal team. So if you want to read the like bits and details of what exactly eligibility is and how the prize works, you are welcome to read this document, as well as if you want to work on your submission before you put it in the platform, if you have teammates and you'd all prefer to sort of collaborate together before somebody puts it on the platform, there's a sample of the submission questions we're asking here as a PDF. So you can download this and you can utilize it before you submit your ideas. We also have the timeline of the challenge, which I will also go over today. And then coming back up, there's two buttons here. One says subscribe to challenge. This leads you to our newsletter subscription, which if you're here, my guess is most of you are already subscribed to receive emails from us. But if you haven't, please subscribe so we can keep you updated on events, on deadlines, on anything that's coming up with the challenge. And then the second button here says submit a new solution. So when you're ready to make your submission, you come here, you click on this. My apologies, I have to log in. You come here, as it showed you just now, you have to be logged into the platform, and you say submit a new solution. And this takes you to where you will answer some questions about your idea. You will give us an overview, any pictures, videos, attachments that you want to include. So it begins with add your title, add a picture if you would like. This is sort of that hero image that shows in the main page. Add any of your contributors. If you have teammates, please include them here. They also have to be logged into the platform and have an account. And then this is where you put your description. There is a bit of guidance on how to write a good description, but anything you want to say about your idea, the overview, the details, any case studies, you can put right here. And then we have some questions we would love to hear from you as part of your submission. Anything from sort of your organizational structure, like are you an individual, are you a team, are you a nonprofit, how big is your team, where are you from, where are you submitting your ideas from? And then we have some questions about what is your intended impact, what are you hoping to have as a result of your idea, what is your intended scale and geography, where do you want to start? Where would you start building your idea? Where would you want to pilot it? If you are scaling it, how could it scale? So if you're, say, in Rwanda, how might this idea also scale to the United States? How might it scale to from your neighborhood to the other neighborhood? So thinking about how might your idea grow? And then we have questions about stakeholders. Who from frontline communities might benefit from your idea, if you're involving anybody in the process of coming up with your idea, and then is there any potential harm as a result of your idea that could come to any communities, to the environment, and how might you work on mitigating those? And then lastly, we would like to hear a bit about how you intend to use the prize money. How might this help you grow your idea or grow your prototype, scale your solution to the next level? And that is sort of the broad overview of what our submission is. This is public. You're welcome to read it on the website. You're welcome to download the PDF. Please spend time addressing some of these questions as you file your submission to us. Also, as we mentioned this before, open innovation is all about collaborating, getting reviews from each other, building on each other's ideas, so you are able to continuously update your solution. So if you submit once, that doesn't mean it's the end. you can continue to resubmit and update it until July 10th, our actual deadline for submissions. So if you submit next week, you can come back and resubmit and update over and over again. All right. I believe that might be it for the submission page, and I will really quickly talk about the other tabs here that may be of use to you. So as you will see up here, there's a few tabs. We've just gone over the overview. There's also the solutions tab. So when you submit your idea here, it will appear in the solutions tab as an open submission. We do not keep submissions to the challenge private. They will all be made public so that we can build on it, give you feedback, as well as other people participating or anybody else. Even if you're not participating, you can come and review ideas, give feedback, help people improve. And we will be giving a lot of feedback here. We're pretty excited to see your ideas. And these are the 7 solutions that are already been submitted. So you're welcome to come take a look at them. All right, continuing. While we're going to do a Q&A today, we also have an FAQ page. So if there's any questions you have, this is a good place to start. If you're curious about open idea, open innovation in general, there's a frequently asked questions page just for the platform, how it works, what we do, why is it public, etc. And then we have questions specifically about the challenge right here. About how do you know if your solution is applicable, what happens to your solution once you submit it, and then some technology tips. We will also cover some of these questions today. Continuing on, there's another tab called community events. So this is where we will be posting all of our recordings, including this webinars. So if anybody misses it, they can come back here. If you want to refer to any events, you can come here. We will also post upcoming events here. We will be having speakers and workshop events, as well as opportunities for you to engage with us one-on-one as teams or individuals. So they will all be made public here for you to register, and we will also continue to send out emails about them. All right. The last tab is additional resources. This is where you can find links from our partners, our organizations, as to different resources you may need to shape your idea. If you need any definitions and terms, they are tagged up here. If you would like to use any insights or data around climate risk, climate-related disasters, there's a lot of good resources here that you can use as evidence. And then lastly, there's some toolkits here on how to define your audience, how to think about engaging frontline communities, how to journey map, how to storyboard your prototype. So if you're showing us your ideas, there's a bunch of toolkits here that will help strengthen your submission. So please take a look. And if you need any toolkits or any resources, they will be right up here. And then lastly, if you are working on making any prototypes, decks, any type of concepts you want to show us, there's a few free prototyping tools that you can use that are attached also here. And that is the overview of the challenge website. You're welcome to go through this all by yourself as well. And I will continue with some of the details of the challenge today. I'll be back to the presentation. Can you see the slides? Yes, thank you. All right. We just went over the challenge website. So now I will start talking a bit more in detail about our themes. As you know, the challenge question is how might we empower frontline communities to prevent, prepare for, and recover from climate-related disasters. So our 3 challenge themes are prevention, preparedness, and recovery. Prevention is eliminating the risk of climate-related disasters or reducing the likelihood or severity of its impacts. So you may be working in this space of how can we be preventing disasters before they happen. You may also be in the space of preparedness, taking actions to prepare communities and individuals for climate-related disasters. So even if a disaster is coming, how do we be better prepared for it? Whether that is landscapes, infrastructures, communities, or people, how might we all be better prepared? And then lastly, recovery, taking immediate and long-term actions to recover from the impacts of disasters. A disaster happened, how do we recover from it? How are ways communities can bounce back faster? So these are our 3 themes. I will say that we welcome solutions that are across all teams, that are just in one theme. These are not exclusionary of each other. These are just to give you more depth into what we see as the challenge space. All right, let's start with theme 1, prevention. Also, Connor and Corinne, I'm seeing chat and Q&A, but I can't respond, so hopefully you guys are on it. Thank you.
We're on it.
All right, awesome. I will continue. Our first theme, prevention. These are just to give you an idea as to what we see as the challenge space and what we see as potential solution inspiration. This doesn't mean you have to fit in one theme. This doesn't mean if something you're working on is not listed here, it's not eligible. This is just to give more depth into the problem space, to give you some ideas as to what we are seeing as problems in the world. So prevention is about how might we shape resilient landscapes and resilient infrastructures that lessen the impact of disasters. So thinking about physical, infrastructural, landscape resiliency, how may we have better physical spaces, better prepared, better preventing of disasters. The second question we have here is how might we improve monitoring, surveillance, and detection to improve disaster warnings and earlier signs to act sooner. So how may we use technology, AI, any indigenous ecological knowledge around monitoring, surveillance, detection to better prevent any disaster before it happens. So here's some solution inspiration, just some things that we've been thinking about that we would love to see in this challenge. It could be new approaches to physically altering landscapes to be stronger against disasters. It could be new resistant materials for infrastructures for any of the climate-related disasters. And it could be improved detection technologies to prevent disasters before severity escalates. All right, theme number 2, preparedness. Some of the buckets in this are coordination, community response, and education efforts. So how might we improve coordination, community response, and education efforts to be better prepared for disasters? How can people be better prepared? How can communities be better prepared? What are some communication strategies we could establish? So if something happens, people can act sooner, faster, be more safe, be more resilient. We also asked, how might we support better preparedness for those who work in essential industries that play a role in community resilience? So thinking about any type of space that gets really impacted by climate disasters like agriculture, energy, forestry management, water management, how might these industries or how might people working in these industries be better prepared so that they take less damage from climate-related disasters? Here's some of the solution inspiration that we talked about. So strategies for better community response, evacuation strategies, communications, evacuation locations, how might we shape any of these in a new light? Universally accessible mobility solutions for before, during, and after disasters. How may people evacuate faster, evacuate better? How might people actually move when it's time for a disaster to strike? Also thinking about physical safety and health precautions as a part of preparedness, as well as any tools and technologies that can enhance any preparedness measure that we've described above. So quite a large space for any preparedness measures. And then last theme, recovery. This also comes with a lot of different branches. So we said, how might we improve delivery of post-disaster management and recovery assistance? So how might we improve things that are already happening, or how might we establish new measures of post-disaster management? How might we enable a frontline community-led workforce in rebuilding and recovery? As people get impacted by climate-related disasters, they also want to invest in rebuilding and strengthening their communities. So thinking about co-benefits, how might we create workforce and capacity building for frontline communities is a part of recovery. So we would be excited to hear solutions around that. And then a few other things are, how might we create a human-centered and supportive relocation process? As people have to evacuate, move around, get displaced, how might we create a better supportive relocation process, as well as how might we get people into stable housing sooner? So thinking about alternative housing solutions could be a part of recovery. So any of these inspiration and solution, efficient human-centered methods for rebuilding communities and infrastructures, reviving businesses and the economy of frontline communities, generating workforce opportunities and capacity building, as well as effective community-involved cleanup after disasters. So how do we get spaces to be recovering? How might we get communities and the economy and businesses to recover? All of these are a part of our recovery bucket. All right. Here's a note on what is not included in this challenge. These are some things that we see as not directly related to climate-related risk or climate-related disasters. So number one is solutions that specifically support emergency response during a disaster. So anything that isn't about before or after, so prevention and preparedness are before and recovery is after, and response is at the moment. So the example was firefighting during a wildfire. We see a lot of work, innovation, exciting things happening in response. So our focus is on before and after, not the moment of the disaster. We will be happy to discuss if anybody feels like they're more in this space, but they could work in some of the other themes. If you feel like this is a block for you, you're welcome to come to office hours, you're welcome to email us, but this is one of the things that we have said we are not looking for, response. Second one was solutions that primarily target social and or emotional impacts of climate disasters on communities. Even though this is an incredibly important subject, we are not entirely focused on the social side, but rather on the physical, technological, adapting to risk side of prevention and recovery. So we are less focused on the social, more on the physical, immediate, and longer term development. And then the third one says solutions that primarily target mitigating climate change. So anything around reducing greenhouse gases or carbon footprint, thinking more about like carbon emissions, anything that is more about mitigating climate change, we see as not directly related to climate-related disasters, even though in the long run, mitigating climate change would definitely help decrease risk. That is not an immediate road to solutioning that we are looking for. So that is not in scope for us. And then lastly, we are also not looking for any singular infrastructure or construction projects that are not scalable. So building a dam or improving a road in one community, we are not necessarily looking to fund any projects around that, but rather if you're coming up with a new material to improve resiliency, if you're coming up with a new approach to construction or making a different type of infrastructure that is innovative, we would be welcoming those very much so. We are just not looking for any singular infrastructure that is just a one-time thing. But if you can show us how something can be scalable, if you can show us this is my pilot and this is how we can scale this new idea, we would be very much welcoming those types of solutions. I'm sure there will be questions around these. And as I said, you're welcome to put it in the Q&A. And also you're welcome to email us, chat with us if you feel like any of these are barriers for you. We are welcome to strategize and see if you are truly eligible or if your solution can be a part of this challenge. But we are very much open to collaborating and thinking forward about these. All right, the challenge journey. As you all may have heard, we've launched last week, May 23rd, and open submission phase will go until July 10th. So we're looking at about a month and a half timeline for you to submit your solutions, receive feedback from us, from other community members, and keep improving your ideas. And also, this will be the time frame where we will be hosting events, speakers, workshops, office hours that you can benefit from. Between July 10th and July 18th, we will have a panel of judges selecting finalists that will move forward to a second round where they will receive specific feedback on how to improve their solutions. And then between July 18 and 26, these finalists, so from the open submission cohort, will go down to finalists selected. And then these finalists will move into a second round where they can resubmit their ideas, and winners will be selected from the cohort of these finalists, and we will be announcing our winners on August 1st. I will quickly touch upon the evaluation criteria. This is also on the website, is public. There's more details around these. You're welcome to read. But for now, this is the overview of our 5 evaluation criteria. Number 1 will be relevant. We will be looking to see if you are directly addressing the how might we statement, if you fit in any of our teams and you can directly relate and explain how you're working around that 1, 2, or 3, any of the themes. And then also any of those things we said we are not looking for will also factor into whether your submission is relevant. Number 2 will be novel. We are literally looking for new ideas that change structures, technologies, and standards of today's effects of climate-related disasters on our lives. So anything new, groundbreaking, exciting, a new approach, a new method, a new material, a new way to look at the problem at hand, that will be our second factor. Our third criteria is impactful. We are really looking for solutions that are actionable and scalable. Scalable meaning it's not only happening in one community, but it has the potential to be replicated and grow into other communities, other parts of the world. Can the solution grow into being something that can have a major impact on the world? We're also looking for ideas, prototypes, solutions that can be initiated in the next 1 to 5 years as a part of receiving this prize. How will you be able to use this prize to accelerate your impact? You should be using quantitative and qualitative data. Show us, ground your solution in evidence of how might this have impact? How can we show that any data that can show that you will have a big impact in communities that you're working in. You can show us future trends, projections. You can give us local or global insights from communities that you worked with or are planning to work with. You can show us traction of your idea if you've piloted or prototyped. You can show us similar solutions or ideas that had traction, or you can describe a credible pathway for realization. Give us a roadmap of, I'm at this stage, but this is how my idea might grow. So give us a hint of what your impact might be. And then the fourth criteria is equitable. Solutions that contribute to building an equitable future for frontline communities, as well as solutions that are not going to harm further any communities, the environment, or ecosystems. We really want to focus on empowering frontline communities, creating resilient communities, and a part of that is being just, fair, and inclusive. So equitable will be a big part of our evaluation. And then the fifth one is community informed. We are looking to see how you've engaged frontline communities in creating your idea, prototyping it, testing it, piloting it, in any sort of engagement with frontline communities, or a plan for how you might engage frontline communities in the future to truly know your idea is actually targeting a human-centered need. So describe to us how your idea has been informed by needs of communities, how you experienced that, or have discussed it or engaged with people that have experienced that. And these will be our 5 evaluation criteria. There will be a scoring from 0 to 5 around each of these that will come with specific scales, but this is the overview of our criteria. And then here's our incentives. There will be 3 tiers of prizes. The first one is the Emerging Innovator Award. So this will be for early stage concepts, and prizes will be up to $50,000 US dollars. Our second tier is called Mid-Stage Innovator Award. So these will be for growth stage concepts. Perhaps they've been prototyped or piloted. Perhaps they're looking to expand their idea or solution. So prizes in this category will be up to $100,000 US dollars. And then lastly, advanced solutions. So these are solutions that have been piloted or prototyped that are being scaled up into new places, maybe looking to have another round of testing or looking for another round of implementation. So these solutions will be awarded up to $200,000. So these are our 3 tiers, and the way this will be determined is one of the questions in the submission that you will be filling out. Moreover, this is for any of the solutions submitted. You will all receive media coverage and visibility by being a part of an Open Innovation Challenge. Also, if you win one of the prizes, there will be a lot of media, a lot of publicity for us announcing your idea, your team, your organization to the world. Second is exposure to networks. All submissions and participants will be visible to a round of experts, investors, and funders across a wide range of industries. So you will be able to tap into the network of open innovation. And then lastly, connections to like-minded partners. Just the fact that there's a whole host of us in this room is a good indicator for you getting to engage with like-minded people throughout the challenge. Just to make one part clear, as we have said, there will be winners selected. Therefore, not everybody will be winning a prize, but you are all going to be benefiting from getting exposure to our networks, getting connected to like-minded partners, and also have the possibility of winning some of these prizes. And then lastly, I was going to do this more detailed, but I want to leave time for Q&A. These are our partners. Kira and Liz have mentioned, we have a lot of partners in the insurance and reinsurance space. We also have partners in environmental and change-making catalyst spaces. But these are all of our partners that you can read about on the challenge website, and they will also be looking at evaluating, reviewing, and giving feedback on your ideas. All right, lots of talking. Thank you for sticking around for it. Hopefully this is being informative for all of you. But this is our Q&A portion. There's some questions that I will be going over, and then I will hand it off to Karen and Connor to read out some of the questions coming in the Q&A. And this will also be a time, if we haven't covered something, you have questions, please drop them in the Q&A so that we can respond to you. So type it in the Q&A chat. All right, I'll start real quick. Who is eligible to participate? This challenge is open to individuals, teams, and legal entities. We are not excluding any type of organization, so it's really truly an open challenge. The primary participant has to be 18. That is the only sort of limiting factor. This also doesn't mean team members cannot be below the age of 18, but the person who actually submits on the platform has to be 18 years of age. Besides that, there's not really any restrictions on who can participate. So if you're a startup, NGO, academic institution, an individual, you're just a team of friends, somebody working on this idea, you're all welcome to submit. We are also open to global submissions. While our primary focus is North America, we will accept any scalable and transferable solutions from around the world. We know actually a lot of you are international submitters, and you are very welcome to submit. We are open to global submissions, but we would truly love to hear from you how your idea is scalable and transferable, specifically looking at North America. And then number 3, we said here is we especially invite participation from communities on the front lines of climate change, as well as any organizations working with frontline communities. We want to make sure our submissions are rooted in real community needs. So if you are a frontline community organization, if you're a member of a frontline community who has experienced the effects of climate-related disasters, we really encourage you to be a part of the challenge. All right. As you are all submitting solution ideas, as you are submitting questions in the Q&A, I will read over some of these bigger questions. So the second question was, how do I know if my solution is applicable? So as we've said, please review the overview tab, all of those information that we've just gone over today, specifically looking at the themes to consider and evaluation criteria. This will determine whether your solution is applicable or not. So some of the things I covered today. And then think about if your solution fits under any and all of the 3 challenge themes: prevention, preparedness, and recovery. your solution has to be a part of at least one of these themes. It can be about all three, but it has to fit somewhere within these. Does my solution meet all 5 evaluation criteria? So we just covered it: relevant, novel, impactful, equitable, and community informed. Do you meet these criteria? This will also determine your eligibility or applicability. And does my solution effectively demonstrate, does my submission effectively demonstrate how my idea meets the challenge themes and evaluation criteria? So a big part of being eligible is that you are responding to the questions in the submission form, and you are explaining how you relate to the above criteria, how you relate to the above themes. So what you write and how you frame your idea will be a big part of how we look at it. All right, so what happens to your solution once you submit? As we've said, your solution will get posted publicly on the challenge platform, and then a host of reviewers will take time giving you feedback, whether that is us or anybody that is in the public, any partnering organization, any other people who submitted solutions. Anybody will be able to comment and build on each other's ideas. You will be able to continue to update your submissions as many times as you'd like until July 10th, which is our deadline for open submissions. This is when we actually start evaluating for judging. So until July 10th, you can update and resubmit. And then a panel of judges will review all solutions from July 10th to 17th, as I said, and provide scores based on the evaluation criteria. With these scores, we will select finalists to move to the second round. And in that second round, finalists will be able to review, update, and resubmit their solutions. And then lastly, winners for the monetary prizes will be selected by a second panel of judges from the finalist pool. So this is sort of the line of what happens to your solution. And if you do not get selected as a finalist after July 17th, that means you will not be moving forward to the second round, and you will no longer be considered for the prizes. However, your idea will still remain public, and you will still be able to chat about it, build on it, and you can always get feedback from us as well. All right, and this is the last thing I have to say. What can you attend next? Moving forward, we will have weekly drop-in office hours when anyone can join to ask any burning questions to us challenge managers. So this will be like a logistical drop-in hours. You can say am I eligible? Where do I find this? How does this happen? This will be your time to come and ask anything. There will also be one-on-one mentor sessions. So if you as a team, individual, organization have specific questions about your submission, you want feedback, you want to discuss your idea, we will have mentors with different expertise and experiences available for you to schedule some alone time with. And then lastly, we will have public workshops where you can co-work on building your solutions, your pitch decks, your stories, and more, as well as speakers and panels where you can learn more about the challenge content. And that is all from me. So Karen and Connor, I know you've been fielding questions in the chat. So if anything is coming up, this is a time to address some of those.
Connor, what do you think? We're a few minutes from the top of the hour, and it feels like there's some questions that some people asked that were already answered. Yes, thank you so much, Dennis. And what Tamara shared. One thing is we will collate all of the questions that were asked in the chat. Some of the answers were brief, and I know some of you are probably still wondering. So if you feel like your answer wasn't sufficient, please let us know right now in the Q&A, and we'll definitely go back to make sure we give a more lengthy or more specific response. And then we'll share this information back out with the challenge community. What about you, Connor?
I agree with that. I think looks like we were able to answer most of the questions. If you do have an open question, feel free. You should be able to go there and see the previously asked questions, so you can check and see if anything has not been covered. We also have an email address. Yeah, I think that Dennis shared, but just to reiterate, if you need to be in contact with us or have a specific question about your organization, that climate-resiliency@idea.com. We are able to respond to that. So please reach out if you need us.
Okay, wonderful. I'm seeing there were a couple dozen questions, which is great. So thank you so much for responding to those. And as we are wrapping up, we will just say thank you so much for spending some time with us today. I hope this was informative and got you some clarity on what open innovation is, how our climate resiliency challenge works, and also motivated you to participate. We're really looking for a lot of submissions. One of the other things I've been asked over email recently was, can one person or organization submit more than one idea to the challenge? And the answer was yes. So if you have multiple projects or multiple startups or multiple ideas around this challenge, you're welcome to submit them all individually, and they will each be reviewed independently of each other. Just to put that out, if that didn't come up in the Q&A. All right, thank you all so much for being here and participating. And we're hoping to see you all in the next activity that will be announced really soon, and you will hear from in the emails, or you can find on the website. All right, have a wonderful day, everybody.